because I got so excited. There we go. Oh, okay, now we're
You
recording
did
too.
such a
Oh
great
my God.
job.
We
You
have
did
to, yes.
such a great job.
One more thing about Susan, I'm so sorry. We'll add all this to the recording. Oh my God. I'm just, yeah, my mind's everywhere with all this stuff going on. So, the important part is that all that Susan teaches has been successfully applied to every area of her own life. Her deep belief is that we can have it all and that we can have success in all aspects of our life. Susan passionately teaches others to achieve this by unleashing one's full potential to become who they want to be, by changing the way one thinks, gaining a deep understanding of their programming, and shifting paradigms. She is the master and magician of transformation. Susan lives in Montreal, is married to Kevin, and is stepmom to a 20-year-old Andrew. All right, well, welcome, Susan. A tremendous gratitude for your time. I know that you are, busy with many, many different projects, and yet you just granted us this time to be here online and share with our viewers, and I'm very grateful. So, hello, how are you?
Thank you for having me here. My gosh, what an introduction. I'm humbled. I'm really humbled.
Oh,
You
I
know what? It's
am.
important for me to be here. This is a month where I'm giving back a lot, and everybody is home. And this is the time to really speak our truth. So I'm really appreciate you having me here.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so funny with the technology these days. I just noticed that our live just ended. So I'm going to try to go online again. I apologize, you guys. Oh my God. This is the interesting, challenging times we're going through. But
It is.
I don't want to cut you short. So Susan, hello again. Well, tell us, how are you doing and what are you working on these days?
Well, we're just about to launch our dating app, right? And
Uh-huh.
so that's been keeping us very, very busy. Tina Gesso is my partner and Love and Sync.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been really busy on that, just getting the app ready and just talking a lot about love out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my passions is heart opening. Anything that opens up one's heart, whether it's opening up to romantic love, opening up to allowing good opportunities to come to you, abundance. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, everything is about the heart. So I've
Yes.
basically studied the art of translating the heart language to the logical articulation so that people
Mm.
can really start unblocking that heart center, because that is everything. Everybody wants success, everybody wants to achieve, everybody wants goodness to come to them, but yet one of the biggest issues out there I've seen in the last 25 years is that our heart is not opened to receive it.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I've just purely focused on anything that is heart related. And that includes romantic love.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And I felt like with all the hype that is going on and the technology, like what is the better place to drop into our hearts? And I just by listening to you, I felt like yes, we can center, take a breath and go into our hearts and then
Yes.
start from there afresh. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you
No,
for
it's a
bringing
really
that.
important. Well, thank you for highlighting this because it's a very
Mm-hmm.
important subject. And with everything that's going on with COVID-19 and the reset button that's happening in
Mm-hmm.
humanity, we have to reset in the right way. And this
Yes.
is why I'm just so loud out there right now.
Beautiful. And so, Susan, tell us more about how did you all, I mean, we've heard about your amazing background in corporate world, but tell us how this all started for you with what you're doing now.
I started really analyzing human behavior when I was in Hong Kong. At the age of 29, I was moved from Hong Kong to Singapore from a company to take over the sales and marketing in Singapore. Now, I was 29 and I was managing sales and marketing team of over 20 people that were all basically older than I was. I had to
Mm-hmm.
find a way to motivate them to achieve those goals, the company goals, in 3.5 years, and I had no experience. I was way over my head. So I had to find the most effective way to motivate people and inspire people, but yet still preserving their highest good, to be able to achieve those goals in 3.5 years. And I don't have the experience at that time, management experience, to do it, but I did have the energetic connection with human beings to be able to do it. So I basically used those 3.5 years to master the art of human behavior. And I did achieve my goals, and I did finish my contract there. And I didn't continue the contract because I actually found love and came back home.
Oh my God, you found love. Tell us more about that.
Yes. Well, you know, I mean, that's been always my journey, right? And I think I ended up love coaching because my entire journey was finding true love, right? And I never lost that romanticism side of it. But to find true love, you have to find true love within yourself. And so I went through 10 years of being single in my 20s, finding my way back to me. And that's why self-mastery allowed me to be able to take on a very big role in Singapore, because I did a lot of work on self-mastery. And it's about self-compassion, self-love. And I know these are big terms, but I've basically nailed it to such a logical protocol and how to do it that anybody can understand it. And that's the thing with emotional intelligence, is people don't know how to translate the heart language into the logical thinking mind. But when you present it in such a blueprint that is so easy to follow, it's actually easier than we think.
Wow, this sounds very powerful to me, and that's exactly what we need. So tell us more about how do you translate from the mind to the heart? How do you
From the
teach
heart
people?
to the mind?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. From the heart to the mind. I was thinking
Well,
grounding in the heart, but actually we need to translate it to the mind. Yes.
yes, because the heart is the one that's always screaming out.
Mm-hmm.
And the thinking mind is always pressing down the heart from speaking, right? So what I do is I integrate the two. I get us to understand the heart again, and the heart becomes scary if we don't allow it to come out. So, but we're always told, don't be emotional. You're just reacting. So the heart is trying to expose and express itself, but yet we're told by everything around us to stop being emotional because you're affecting everybody negatively. So you see how we go against ourselves over time, and we lose our truth. And then we start living what everything else out there is telling us to live. And next thing you know, we are living everybody else's story. But the only thing that is hurting is our heart. Right?
Wow.
So what I do is I really connect people back to who are you and what do you want? And because I don't judge it, people release it to me very easily. So the clue here for everybody is stop judging. And then you will allow everybody around you to express their truth without fear. Because when somebody expresses truth with fear, that's when the emotional negative side comes up. But if you remove judgment, you can expose your fears and your emotional side, and it only looks beautiful.
Wow. You know, Susan, when I feel in what you say that you yourself went through a very deep journey to arrive at your heart.
Yes.
Can you share?
Yes. You know, I mean, from very young age, I've had trust issues. I think all of us have trust issues one way or another, but usually people with trust issues are the people that are most vulnerable. So what happens is that in time, I made myself tough. So I look like somebody, but yet I'm not that person. I'm actually a vulnerable person that trusts everyone. So I go through the model of, I'll trust you until you disappoint me. I'm not like a lawyer that you have to prove yourself innocent, right? I think everybody's innocent. So therefore I get sucked into lies all the time. So I've had to learn the art of discerning, because I just kept getting disappointed by people, because I could see that, because to me, I hold, all the time.
Sorry about it. I'm trying to, okay. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry. The
so
technology is crazy today.
it is. We always have to keep checking, right? Because even for me, we have to keep checking.
Bring it to the heart. Technology, you are here to empower our heart. Behave.
Yes, and you know what? I think in the greatest sense, humanity is so beautiful because everybody just
Yes.
loves to, just loves to actually um, support everybody. So when technology is not working, everybody's like, yeah, everything's okay. I know everything's okay. I'm not a perfectionist. But yeah, so one of the greatest challenges I've had in my early life is I didn't know how to deal with disappointments anymore because it was so
Mm.
hurtful to me.
Yeah.
Because every time I had to face disappointment, it made me lose trust. And I don't like the losing trust feeling. So therefore, I had to learn to remove myself from the reaction of disappointment in a negative way. And I tried to keep this going to try to understand why without it without myself taking it personally, because that's what happens in society. We start taking it personally when it
Mhm.
has nothing to do with us. So I had a relationship from the age of 13 to 22, which is not a good idea for me because I became completely narcissistic and crazy and dependent and a spoiled brat. But at the same time, I also learned how to um, embrace the journey of being alone. And
Mm.
so when you have a relationship in your teenage years that young, there you can't help but to become dependent. The
Mhm.
dependency is extreme. So I became single at the age of 23. He finally let me go. He didn't take me back every time I hurt him, and I graciously let him go.
Mm.
And I remember the day I said to myself, um, I have to let him go. I can't hold on to him because I can't be alone. He has to have his life. And therefore, I need to move forward and find myself because this is not feeling good. you know, and to lie to somebody all the time, to hurt somebody all the time, it's just not a good thing. So I made it a vow that I do want love, and I will not settle for anything less than the good person that he was, because I hurt him. I have to bring a positive purpose to what I did. So I
Wow.
allowed myself to be single for 10 years. I didn't know how long I was going to be single for, to be honest with you, but I had to embrace the journey.
Mhm.
I dated a lot. I was in Hong Kong. But I did focus on myself, which is while I'm single, while it was painful, I have to focus on achieving what I want to achieve in my own life to be successful without being dependent on having love with me.
Wow. And it's so powerful that at such young age you are actually able to realize, those dynamics, and that you needed to step back and reassess. So, I mean, this is
Yeah.
profound.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think there are many of us out there that have been given the opportunity in our life to figure that out at a certain time. And I think for those particular people, they have a big purpose. And so we have to embrace all the negative sides of us with
Mhm.
compassion and love.
Yes.
And I can honestly talk about every single aspect of me, good and bad. And even the bad becomes good, because in the end of the day,
Mhm.
when we stay focused on not judging ourselves for everything that we don't like about ourselves, the gifts and the opportunities and the beauty on what we're meant to do with our purpose comes so crystal clear.
Mm. Wow. You just want to take a breath and just acknowledge that, it does, the beauty comes through once we embrace it all without judgment.
It's the judgment that just kills everything. If we want to change the world and make it a more peaceful, loving place, it's the judgment that kills everything.
Oh. Why? Oh, tell us. So tell us, you have a big mission and big purpose. Tell us more about that mission that is driving you now.
You know, I've finally made a decision very recently to focus on helping strong women become stronger. And I do believe that every woman out there is strong inside. whether we're demonstrating it or not, it doesn't matter. And so that's why I created Life Makeover Collective, so that women could actually clear away all that sense of obligation and the nurturing of the maternal side of women, that men don't have that maternal side. They don't have this, we don't have the same makeup. So it was such a hard decision for me to make, to focus on strong women. I never wanted to make a decision on any demographic, because I actually have only worked with men all my life. And I love men, and I think like a man, because I've learned how to operate like a man,
Yes.
so that I can balance myself out and understand on a strong articulation level, the emotions. And that's what I want to teach women, how to articulate our heart without being reactive to it.
How to articulate the heart without being reactive to it. So
because we're judged on our heart and how we react. You know, all those sayings about all women, they're so emotional, women, this and that. And I'm thinking, and I could walk into a room with 100 lawyers and none of them are saying that about me, right? Because I've learned how to operate like them. And so I think that we can actually bring the empowerment of women elevated by teaching women how to not judge their heart. And not feel like that heart is inferior just because we're reactionary. Of course we're reactionary. We have estrogen. We have our cycles.
Yes.
We have what
right. Well, I mean, would you love a woman who's just sitting there and being so composed and she never reacts? I mean, it's boring, isn't it?
That's not even natural. That's not even natural.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
And so I want to show men that we can all be different, but yet have an emotional intelligence and an empowerment to not let the reactions be judged.
Yes. And use them appropriately, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes? Can you tell us more? How do you do that? How do you teach? How do you help women with that?
Well, first of all, is creating a community of like-minded women where it's a sacred place where we can be honest with one another without being victims, right? I know that we can be in a victim state, but we don't have to have the victim mindset, right? So anybody who comes into this community, the Life Makeover Collective, we are only solutions minded, which means if you want change, I will give you change. We will give you change, but you have to prove that you want it, which means you have to take the certain actions to get away from the stories, right? And it just by providing that community, I think, and the collectiveness of all that energy that is solutions minded and not stuck in the old stories minded, everybody could elevate everybody to move forward, right? And that's why to lead that type of a movement, it's taking ownership for who we are as individuals, not as a collective, as an individual first. You don't need to be like anybody else. You are you. And we embrace the beauty of the individualism and the uniqueness of each person. Everybody has a superpower, and that superpower is the story that you create from your past with a happy ending.
Right. Wow. Which you are the example of course. And this is what stands out for me, is that vision of this powerful individual who takes responsibility for themselves 100%. And then we come into a collective where we magnify our impact and our ability to go even further, because there is a collective energy that's coming together.
Yes. And it's not me doing it alone. I want to create a really deep inner circle of practitioners, healers, therapists, anything like that, that is aligned with that same belief that we are not meant to save the world alone.
Yes.
We're meant to work together, which means that I will take up my space somebody else will take up their space, and combined we help everybody. So as long as we create a community of like-minded individuals who are solutions focused and not allowing ourselves to be sucked into old stories, because if you suck me into your old story and I'm sitting there, I can't help you. I can't help you. I just can't. We're both suffering. Somebody has to be outside of it, right? And so I don't get triggered because I've worked through all my own triggers. And so I can actually hear your stories without reacting, and you can sense me not reacting, which means it's almost like I'm your wall. And you're allowed to be free to release, because this wall's not going to fall on you. And that energetic connection with another is powerful.
Wow. So do you, what do you do yourself to hold that space, to be such a powerful wall?
I stand in my truth 24/7, even if it gets me into trouble sometimes, you know. And it helps that I married my complete opposite consciously, because I always said, you know what, if you want to be a master of something, prove it by doing it yourself. If I want to master the art of the mind and what we can create and our own triggers, I have to marry somebody that is such the complete opposite, that if I believe in myself that magic does work, because I'm not a naturally logical person, I am very much a believer of magic. What I want, I will create out of nothing. I will make into physical form whatever I want, that I truly want in my heart. And it's not logical. The way I operate is not logical. I believe in spending money for money to come. I don't believe in saving it first or earning it before I spend. Now that's a deeply ingrained belief that I've had since I was a kid. So, but I married somebody who's very logical. He's a lawyer. He's an engineering mind, scientist type person who is very business and finance oriented. So I cannot be with anybody who doesn't believe in magic as much as he is. And it took me 11 years to prove to him that magic is real, by being flawless in whatever I say I will do. And I think to create a movement where there's the deepest level of trust in this world, because that's what really is the problem, is that there's not enough trust. There's not enough trust. And even when we say we trust somebody, we deeply don't. We don't trust anybody anymore. And I think we need to create a world of people practicing what they're saying. If I say I am, I am. If I say I am and I don't behave that way, I will analyze myself and say, hold on, there's a discrepancy. I will not allow myself to live in discrepancies if I want somebody to trust me.
Wow. It's a life of high integrity.
And again, it is. But everybody believes that they have integrity. So I think we have to redefine, define to the world what true integrity is. I don't believe that anybody is out there to lie to anybody. I think everybody has intentions to have the greatest of integrity. But when your behavior does not match your words, that immediately breaks the energetic trust with somebody else. It's not even energetic, it's a logical mistrust. It's the same thing as when I teach young women in my legendary lifestyle. I always teach no means no. And when you say no, it's no. There's no need to justify your no. And I think that, you know, we need to stand by that. But what happens is that, you know, a lot of these young women are going through these relationships in abuse. And so, you know, a lot of these young women are going through relationships Is it still going? I can still see the live button, so we're still good.
Yes, we're good. It's my phone. So
Yeah,
apologies about
that's
that.
okay. That's okay. We have to test it just in case we're talking to ourselves. But yeah, so basically, whenever I teach people empowerment, especially women, I always say that if somebody says they love you and they're hurting you at the same time, you have to choose which one is true, right? But usually somebody who loves you won't hurt you in that way continuously. So therefore, the actions is the truth. But still, when there's when somebody says, "But I didn't mean to," that alone is already a discrepancy.
Yes.
I know you didn't mean to. That's not what I'm saying. You are doing it. So, and I'm not saying my husband's perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but that's how I move somebody along the lines of alignment with deep integrity. Recognize your discrepancies.
Wow. You're it's such a powerful voice of you know, I feel in your energy that powerful guidance and leadership that you're sourcing from something that's really bigger than, you know, just the individual self. I'm very curious about that. I don't know if that resonates with you. Can you tell us more where, on a daily basis? I mean, because I feel it does take a lot of energy to be so aligned, word and action. You know, it takes constant vigilance. Like, what am I doing now? What am I doing now? Am I actually, am I in discrepancy or am I aligning? Where do you source that energy? How do you help others source that energy?
You know what? There's luckily, it's true. My partner always says, "Are you tired now?" No, I'm not tired. I literally do not get tired. I maybe sleep 3-4 hours a night.
Yeah.
And I'm doing so much creative work. But at the same time, I think when you're in flow, it's no longer effort. So therefore, there's no energy exerted, right? But yes, you know what I mean? So for me, it's such a flow thing that I just, and so when I don't have that anxiety of trying to over prepare for stuff, like when we hopped into this call, I have no idea, and nor do I want any, because then I'm still human.
Yes.
I don't want to have to go into overthinking. So therefore, it's better I don't know anything, and then I will just wing it. If I say I'm good, right? That's all I have to say.
Yes.
So, but that's why I always say to my husband, what I don't know won't hurt me. If you give me too much information, I will create things that I don't need to know. And that's where stress comes up. Stress is the greatest contributor to fatigue.
When we're efforting and trying to over prepare and have everything under control, and like not trusting the energy that comes through us, but actually really just cranking on it, that's where we get stressful, and that's where we shut it down.
Exactly. So what I do is I help people go back into their, what I call the internal navigation unit, right? It's your intuition, it's your GPS inside. And once you tap into that, that knowing that you're always going to be okay, no matter what, and you cannot prepare for truth. You can just be in flow. And if you hit a wall, then you're going to discover your truth. You cannot prepare your truth.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's the mindset we have to get back into, because we're all, you know, the problem is that social media came into our life, right? Internet came into our life. Information overload came into our life. We don't know who we should be anymore, because we see all these people that look like they're good. But believe me, I've worked with clients that have made millions of dollars a year. Behind closed doors, it is a living mess.
Yeah.
But yet, all we see is the outside. And that is wrong. Don't ever go and, I was saying on my Facebook Live the other day, I said, when you judge, when you compare, you're judging. When you're admiring, you're aspiring. And
Love
guess what?
it.
I see a lot of judgment out there. I see a lot of
Yeah.
comparing. And
Mhm.
you're not judging the other person, you're judging yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we have to stop that. Just know, and this is the one message I have to put out there, is that just know that everybody has a story. There's a positive and a negative side to every aspect of life, every person you meet. And if you want their good, you have to take it along with their negative as well. Are you ready to do that? Just
Mm.
create your own story, right? You don't
Wow.
want my negatives. You don't want, yes, I have all my positives now, but believe me, the negatives I had to overcome, I don't know if you want that.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. We bring the goodness into relationships, into collectives, into our life by choice. So, and that brings me to the dating app and that project.
Yes.
How is that flowing into your mission?
You know, the crazy thing is, I remember it was a client of mine that inspired me to really bring this into fruition in a big way in my own, manifestation. And I remember she was making $1 million a year. And she says, okay, so she hired me because she wants to hit $10 million a year. So I looked at her. And the thing with me is I could see your truth. I know when you say something, whether you say it with truth or whether you created this idea in your head that doesn't even match where you're supposed to be at any given time. So I asked her, I said, okay, not a problem. We can do that. However, why do you want that? Like, what is $1 million a year in your career right now? What's 10 million going to bring you that 1 million can't,
Mhm.
right? And she thought about it for a few seconds and she's like, and she couldn't answer me. Now, when somebody doesn't know how to articulate what they say they want in words, I have to question whether they really want that or not. And I can't coach somebody into to achieving a goal that they may not want. I'm not a business coach, right? So I'm not going to give you the tools of doing this advertising here. I don't do that. I connect you with your truth, and it happens, right? So finally, she did tell me after a few minutes, after diving a little bit, because she didn't even know how to answer, and we tried to, find the answer through other ways. She said, "Okay, well, you know what? I think that I just lonely. I just think more money." And I said, "Oh, okay. So you want love?"
Hello. Hmm.
And she was the biggest revelation for me. My goodness, what good is success? Because the next step is not more. It's not more of what you've already done. It's actually bringing into light the only one thing you've been avoiding all your life. She would, she's young, she's not, but somebody like that would die in their deathbed with $100 million, but never really experiencing love. I cannot ever imagine, because I found my one at 32 through a process of the protocol of exactly how I did it. This is how insane I am. I record everything
Mhm.
about how I go through things. And then I record it so that people can actually have a roadmap. Because the heart, there's no roadmap, right? And so to hold on to the belief. And so one of the things when Tina and I were having supper a few years ago, and she's been dating for a while, and she's like, oh my gosh, if I were in charge of the dating apps, I would bring more authenticity to
Mhm.
this whole world of dating online, because so many people are lying out there, right? So I said, okay, well, let's do it. And literally that was the moment I started creating
Wow.
the concept. Let's do it. I said, I'll work with them
Wow.
from the inside because I know why people are lying out
Mhm.
there, right? And then you help create the external side of the app, because I've
Mhm.
never online dated, right? I don't believe it, because I
Mhm.
believe in making myself the magnet in a haystack
Mhm.
rather than I don't believe in wasting exerting effort and energy on trying to hit something like finding a needle in a haystack. I will be the magnet that will draw the needle to me. So that's the work that I've always done. So yeah, Tina and I then finally we just went straight into it, and I do believe that the highest level of personal growth comes when you have to integrate your life with another.
Yes.
You never hit your vulnerability until you have to share your life and your soul with another.
Wow.
It's part of our personal development journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's not,
Yes.
because I see so many kinds of, well, I'm going to help myself first before I let somebody in. But don't you have to let somebody in if that's really what you want to be able to help you grow through it?
Yes. Yes. I think alone, it's like we can work on it forever and it never comes to the daylight. It's like I can work on myself and do all this self-development, whatnot. But if it's not shared with somebody, like what reality does it have? It's all kind of in the mind, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things about personal development too, and I realized because I
Yeah.
studied what doesn't work in personal development, because I said personal development is such, you would think that when we go into the world of personal development, that the journey is to find love, right? Ultimately.
Yes.
But there are so many singles in personal development that is completely clueless about how to find love. And what happens with personal development when it's not done in the right way is that we go into information overload. We actually get lost in all that information. And half the information you have in your system from all that studying doesn't even apply to you.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't know who we need to be.
Yep. And you are finding this through relationship, or you are.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm finding it in the fact that everybody says they want love, but no one wants to take a step forward.
So how do you help us? How do you help people take that step forward through that app?
Well, in the app, it's just a regular, it's like every other app, except we're really driving in a lot of subliminal messaging and self-love
Okay.
and taking accountability for what you are attracting, that it has something to do with you. If you are attracting men that, or women or whatever, that is not emotionally available, which is a big common thing, then my thing is, well, how emotionally available are you?
Right.
We attract ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, the biggest clues is so simple when we bring everything back to the simple things about life, is that whatever you're attracted to, you. Right? If your heart is closed and you're walking into the dating world, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, I'm protected, I'm ready, no one's going to hurt me. Well, do you think that you have a guard there?
Oh my God. Yes, exactly.
So here we are, we want emotionally available, but yet we're not. So that doesn't make sense.
Yes, I feel like it's almost like we're waiting for somebody to save us, and like I'm not, and it goes back to that, circles back to that, taking responsibility for yourself. Because if you're just waiting for somebody to come in and save you, and you're gonna stay in your closeness and guarding yourself and just hoping that somebody will break it up, that's not how reality operates, right?
No, it doesn't. I mean, you know what? To be compassionate about wanting
It's
to be
yeah.
saved, it's kind of romantic, like in a movie sense, to be
Yes.
saved. I think it's beautiful. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, though, I also teach people to articulate, how do you want that person to save you?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was
Right.
putting together my avatar of the perfect man for me, I wanted to be saved as well.
Yes.
But I had to also articulate to myself, what part of me do I want the help with? Like, what part of me do I want saving, if we want to use the word saving, right? And to me, I had to look at the parts of me that I don't want to have to force and use effort. So if I'm somebody who is not logical, in as I'm born to be logical, if I'm a people person, I just talk, I want somebody who's intellectual, right? Who reads everything, that could read the news and find out what's going on. Because I don't want to read the news. I don't want to spend time finding out what's going on in the world. And I don't want to have to read every book to know every single knowledge of everything. I really don't, right? Because to me, the heart knowledge is all I need to master. I don't need to know how many different types of birds out there in the world. I don't need to know how many mountains are there. I just don't need to know that because I am very aware of information overload. It's tiring because just the processing of junk, So if we tap back into our heart, we know what to ignore, what to not allow in, and to know what to do with what we have, and to block anything that, you know what I mean? That's where the heart center, that's the heart center's job. But yet, if we let this part control everything, our heart is just crying.
Wow. Thank you for bringing it back to compassion. And in the end, it's not about being perfect or, you know, being the perfect self, mastering self-development in a perfect way, because that's also kind of coming from the mind. It's pretty false. But if you come from your heart, what I'm feeling in what I am admiring now by your approach is that, you know, it is work, it is accountability and integrity, but we drop back to the heart, and then we are held in compassion. And it doesn't seem so arduous, it doesn't seem so daunting anymore, this whole work, because our heart knows anyway.
Yes, exactly. Your heart will always know. And I think that if we stop judging each other's hearts and the way we react, because the reaction is a clue to what not to do next. But if you don't listen to that, then you're always going to be wondering, what should I do next? When you already had the clue before. So that's why the Life Makeover Collective and Love is Sync is a part of Life Makeover Collective. Because to me, I think the whole life aspect and the heart aspect that affects our life affecting our heart needs to be nurtured as you even allow love in. So it's all done together at once. It's not just, well, we're going to work with your love side. No, because if you're having problems with your kids, it's gonna affect your ability to allow love in. So everything has to work together. It's never closing the heart to one thing or another. It's about embracing the journey of what it will take for you to be in trust again of your own heart. And sometimes we have to walk you through, you know, many mistakes. But those mistakes are beautiful. They're giving me all the clues on which way you should go. I'm not going to tell you, don't do this because of, you know, a lot of my clients say, well, should I do this? Should I do this? I don't know. Go and do it. Bring back the data. And we're going to know whether that was right for you or not. But I don't know what to tell you if you haven't gone out and done.
Yes.
Well, please go follow your face, but it's okay. I have a cushion. It won't hurt so much, right?
Wow.
I think this is the platform that we, community, we have to create in this world, that collectively we have to watch each other go through the process of reconnecting with the heart, which is what I call alignment. That is alignment. And a lot of people are not. A lot of people are on the hamster wheel, you know, just, you know, we're taught by personal development, go take action, just go take action, keep going forward to what you want. But if it's not really what you want in the heart, you're never going to make it happen.
You're spinning.
You're spinning, and you're just taking one action over another, and you're not even stopping to think about why it didn't work.
Yes. Wow. Just thinking all this wisdom, because it really brings us back to the values and to what is really our driving force, rather than taking the actions. And we are a world of actions, and it's okay, but you know, I feel like our collective is spinning in many ways still.
It is.
Where do you feel like, with all the beautiful projects that are taking us back to the heart, where do you see it go? Where do you see it in the future?
I see our kids and the next generation taking this work to really build a brand new world. That it's not technology that's the demon. It's the way we're handling information that's the demon. It's the judgments that we take through life that need to be worked on. And emotional intelligence does go a long way in helping us understand when we are judging, why we are judging, and what it does. And so, one clue though, if you are judging yourself in your heart on yourself, you're judging the world. So You know, we're so altruistic. It's like thinking, oh, I'm not a judgmental person. If you're judging yourself, you're judging others. You can't help it.
Right.
If that's how your eyes are focused, that's how you see the world. So, but I do all this work, particularly with Legendary Lifestyle, because we've made our choices as you know, the generation of the 40s, 50s, 60s, but the 20s and 30s, they need us to mentor them through this process, because they don't know any other. They're born into information overload. There's a lot of coping issues out there. There's a lot of stress, a lot of mental health issues, and it's only because of information overload, not knowing how to bring simplicity back to life. And all that information is complicating absolutely everything. It should not be hard to make a decision, but yet decision making is one of the biggest problems in personal development.
Wow. Where do you feel that the biggest challenges are with this work?
There's not enough of us doing it in this way.
Yep.
We have to really get to the heart of why we want what we say we want. And that if you want money and that's your purpose, I don't want to judge you. It's your beautiful purpose. If it's not my, and we're living in a world of spirituality where there's also spiritual ego, what I call it, that if somebody wants money, they're automatically judges. Well, you're not doing it for humanity. No, we have gone off the balance of giving and receiving. We're not taught to receive. We're being influenced to give and give and give, and everybody admires the giving and loves the giving. And then when somebody is receiving, or they're seen as takers.
Selfish.
Yes. And at what point do we bring balance back?
Yes. And you could say receiving is an act of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Imagine you're with a giver as well. So are you married?
No, I'm divorced. That's why my ears are pierced, because I feel your journey. You know, that's where we learn. And then
exactly,
it
is. Forgiving ourselves for why we went through everything we went through, understanding on a deep level how it happened will enable us to change how it is going forward. But if we never understand deeply what happened and why it happened, we're going to be forever in question mark mode, which is scary. Right? So, but definitely, I think the most important message is that to learn how to receive graciously and to give generously.
It's so beautiful. Receive graciously and give generously.
Yes. And just know that, you know, there are givers and receivers, dominant receivers, givers. I'm a dominant giver. My husband's a dominant receiver. He enjoys receiving things, right? Imagine that, and that this is where I had to learn how to receive as well, because if somebody gives me and I don't want to take it, it hurts you.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So can you believe if everybody are givers, but nobody's receiving?
Yeah, we put a wall. I don't want it. You know, I'm good on my own. You're not good enough to give it to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yes.
Can you imagine all the subliminal messages that are completely causing a mistrust in humanity?
Yes. Wow. I mean, it's like your mission is really rewiring humanity into this balance instead of the frenzy of like, I need to do and give and make myself important, you know?
You know what? You never need to try anything. You just be. And the only time you can be is if you accept all aspects of you.
And now I think we're giving a lot of kudos on give. Oh, can you hear me? It just
Yes.
Okay. I think right now, because we're over rewarding giving, we're forgetting about teaching how to own our self-worth. right? Because there are a lot of givers out there that are giving for the wrong reason. They're giving for validation.
Yes.
We have to know the different layers of giving.
Right. And if you're giving for validation, that also may mean that there is not enough validation in our world because people are not receiving and not confirming that you have a value, because I can take what you're giving me and I'm honoring that and I'm deeply grateful. And I recognize your greatness in your life that you give to me. And I think that that's just, I'm so just seeing that beautiful vision that you have of this world where we are actually so rewired that we are in a cycle of giving and receiving and honoring each other and honoring myself, honoring you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is? That beautiful cycle is what is gonna bring the highest level of win-win to everyone.
Yes.
And so that's why when somebody says they want to give me something, so as an ultimate overgiver that I am, what I do is when you give me something, I will receive it graciously, but I always say back to you, how can I serve you equally? Tell me how to serve you. Let's work together here. I will receive whatever you give me with pleasure, and I'll articulate it and how you're giving it to me. But I want you to tell me how I can serve you.
Wow.
And that's how I've always operated in the last 10 years, particularly with my teams. It's conscious leadership to the core.
Wow. So you painted those visions. They're so magical, and I mean, because it really goes beyond what, like, you know, our collective is still struggling with, I think. Like, you have the courage to go beyond and see that bigger picture. And if you were to tell us, like, you know, just in an image, like, where do you see in your most beautiful vision for the future, where do you see humanity going and being?
That's where I see humanity as just being, and that we respect one another, and we respect ourselves. Our kids are thriving in the future. They're running the world with truth and authenticity. Conflict is removed. That is my greatest dream. I don't know if I'm going to live to see it, but that is this whole concept and movement that I want to create, and allowing people to tap back into their truth and to actually unapologetically hold it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And until you're unapologetic, then you can stop. But otherwise, do not stop until you are unapologetic. I deserve that $10 million. Why do you deserve it? Tell me. And the moment you can articulate why, you deserve it. Because if we truly live in a world of abundance, my 10 million is not going to take it away from you. My 10 million is going to give back to the world in whatever way it can give back. And if everybody lives with that philosophy, there's no conflict. Focus on ourselves. Don't look outside to see the problems of everybody else. I don't focus on what problems this person, that person is having, except when I'm analyzing a case study. But other than
exactly. Use it as a case study. Use it to empower yourself and to actually help them. But don't use it just because you have that, you know, automatic kind of a pattern. Oh, I'm going to just judge them because that's what I've been doing my entire life, and I'm just not going to even question that. You know?
Well, usually people judge others or gossip or whatever people do because it makes them feel better, number one, and it also distracts them from the truth.
Right.
Those are the only two reasons.
Yeah.
But if we take accountability for everything that happens for us, we don't have time to think about our neighbors, to be honest with you.
Yes. And, you know, I mean, because what I'm really getting deeply from you, that you have such an amount of love and compassion, and what makes it not daunting to actually have to constantly, you know, watch yourself is that really, you know, if you drop into that compassionate space of the heart, it becomes easy because you are, or simple, or, you know, really naturally flowing because your heart is holding you, and it's not about being perfect in non-judging. It's about being held and understanding what's the deeper, truer value of who I am as a human being.
Yes. Absolutely. When you don't judge your truth and you are connected with your truth, then no one will ever reject you, right? It's been years since I actually faced rejection,
Yes.
literally. No
Mhm.
one rejects me, only because probably I don't attract them. I'm not saying everybody thinks I'm great.
Right.
Probably half the world thinks I'm full of crap.
Who cares?
At the end of the day, does it matter to me? No, because I don't see them, so it doesn't really matter. But that's what happens when you're connected with your truth. You don't face rejection, because guess what? I no longer reject me,
Yes.
right? And so rather than fighting rejection or avoiding it, just work on yourself and stop rejecting yourself, and no one will reject you, because your truth cannot be judged.
Yes.
It's your truth.
Wow. Wow. The truth cannot be judged.
No,
Wow.
you cannot.
Wow. So Susan, tell us, how can people reach you? What would you like to offer?
Oh my gosh, you know what?
I know,
Follow.
but you offer everything. You offer magic, but tell us, because I know there's a lot of people are like, wow, I want to know more.
Yeah, you know what? For women, if you want this empowerment work, just come into our private group. It's a free group. It's a community called the Life Makeover Collective. If you're single and you want to find love and you want to improve on the love mindset and elevate and empower with that, go into loveinsync.com. So www.loveinsync.com. We are launching the app probably next week. So
Wow.
follow
Oh
us
my God.
there, Tina. Yeah, it's really exciting. We're launching it next week.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're focusing a lot on the personal development realm, right? That community to help them really. So we're creating a like-minded community for people that are,
Okay.
in personal development. So yeah, but other than that, on my personal, just follow me. I do a lot of lives. I do a lot of talking out there. That's all I do. And you know what? I just want everybody to take away the hope that there is hope, that there is a way of getting out of the hamster wheel. Life is simple. And that's the only affirmation I want everybody to run with 24/7.
Wow. That is a powerful way to just leave us with that, life is simple and we have the power. Is there anything else you want to add at the end, just to leave us with? If you were to say one sentence that our listeners can actually remember and take away.
Susan's affirmation, Susan's motto in life, Susan's philosophy, and this is what I repeat in my head 24/7. Life is simple, opportunities are everywhere.
Life is simple, opportunities are everywhere. Wow. Well, Susan, I feel, to me, that has been healing talking with you, because I feel so much more in my body right now, and just dropping from that overwhelm of technological whatever, going back into the body and into the heart, and appreciating and loving and receiving. Wow. So your presence is powerful, and I am so grateful to you sharing that with us today. And I'm so grateful for your wisdom, for your refocusing, helping us look into what is the true value in life, and helping us see that vision for the future that we can go into if we want more magic. And thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who participated and watched. I'm so grateful for your time, and for all of you who will be watching the replay. Please leave comments and tell us if you have questions for Susan. I'm going to post her info as well, so you can get in touch. And I'm excited about the app. Oh my God. And thank you again. And this is Monica at Empower Your Health, Empower Your Life TV, where we bring you empowering speakers and change makers. So stay tuned. We are coming in with many more interviews for you, and reach out. Tell us, what would you like to listen to? Who would you like to see on this show as well? Who will empower you? And for now, I'm just gonna say goodbye. Have a beautiful day. Do something gorgeous for yourself and for your heart. And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Monica.
Thank you.